This isn't a movie. This is the raw, terrifying edge of death. And the last thing Elena Rossi, CEO of Viridian Dynamics, powerhouse, control freak, expects to see as the light dims, is Salvation wearing a stained "World's Okayest Dad" t-shirt. That's the hook. That's the moment that grabs your throat and refuses to let go. If this story just punched you right in the heart, if you felt that surge of desperate hope mixed with pure terror, then you understand why we tell stories like this. Because sometimes, heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes, they're running on 3 hours of sleep, drowning in grief, and saving lives they don't even know they're saving. Before you click away, please, hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds, but it tells the universe, stories like this matter. And if you want more raw, real, emotionally gut-punching stories delivered straight to you, subscribe. Ring that bell. Because what happens next? The man vanishes. Without a name. Without a trace. And the CEO who had everything, suddenly has nothing but a burning question: who was he? Buckle up. This is where the real story begins. Asterisk. The video cuts abruptly from the crash scene to serene, slightly chaotic domesticity. Soft morning light filters through a window onto a small, cluttered kitchen. Toys, a half-built Lego tower, a stuffed bear missing an eye, litter the counter. The smell of burnt toast hangs in the air. Ben Carter, 30s, but looks a decade older, dark circles under his eyes, hair perpetually rumpled, is trying to pry a stubborn piece of toast from a toaster with a butter knife, while simultaneously trying to catch a runaway toddler, Lily, 3, with wide, curious eyes and Ben's messy brown hair, who's attempting to climb the pantry. His other daughter, Sophie, 7, serious-eyed, already carrying a small backpack, sits at the tiny table, meticulously coloring a picture of a unicorn, her tongue poking out in concentration. Ben, voice tight with exhaustion: Lily, no. The cereal box is not a hat. Sophie, honey, is that glitter glue supposed to be on the table? Again? Lily giggles, triumphantly placing the cereal box on her head. Sophie looks up, unbothered. It's for the unicorn's magic horn, Daddy. It needs to sparkle extra. Ben manages a tired smile, rescuing the toast, mostly intact, and gently guiding Lily away from the pantry. He fills their mismatched lunchboxes, peanut butter sandwiches for Sophie, mushy banana slices for Lily. The apartment is small, warm, but undeniably worn. There's a lingering sense of absence, a ghost in the quiet moments. Photos on the fridge show Ben, a radiant woman, Sarah, Lily's vibrant, laughing mother, and a much younger Sophie. One photo, tucked slightly behind the others, shows Ben and Sarah on their wedding day, sunlight catching Sarah's smile. Ben's eyes, even in the photo, hold a quiet, protective love. Cut to Elena Rossi's world: glass towers, sterile corridors, the low hum of expensive technology. Elena, late 30s, impeccably dressed in a sharp pantsuit, hair flawlessly pulled back, but with a subtle tension around her eyes, strides through the Viridian Dynamics lobby. Her assistant, Chloe, efficient, anxious, trails behind, tablet in hand. Chloe, Ms. Rossi, the Henderson account is finalized. 12% above projection. And, your 8 a.m. with the board on the Pacific merger is confirmed. Though, sir, there's been another request from the Community Outreach Committee regarding the Downtown Youth Center funding cutbacks. Elena, without breaking stride, voice crisp, devoid of inflection: defer it. Again. Henderson is the priority. Pacific is the future. Anything else is noise. And Chloe? Chloe, yes, Ms. Rossi. Elena, finally stopping, turning, her gaze sharp but momentarily softening, almost imperceptibly: cancel my dinner with him. Tell him it's not working out. Just, tell him. Chloe looks relieved but hesitant. Are you sure, Ms. Rossi? The press has been very interested. Elena, a flicker of something raw, loneliness, exhaustion, crosses her face, quickly masked by icy composure. I'm always sure, Chloe. Efficiency demands clarity. Move on. She turns and walks towards the gleaming elevator, the echo of her heels the only sound in the vast, silent space. The picture of success. Utterly alone. Back to Ben. Later that afternoon. The small community park. Ben pushes Lily on a swing, his eyes constantly scanning the playground, Sophie on the slide, Lily giggling, but his shoulders are perpetually tense, a hawk watching for danger. His phone buzzes relentlessly in his pocket, work calls from the auto shop where he's a mechanic, reminders about Lily's pediatrician appointment, a text from his sister asking how the girls are. He ignores them all, focusing solely on the girls. He remembers Sarah's voice, gentle but firm, Ben, they need you present. Not just here, but here star dot. He tries. God, he tries. But the grief is a physical weight. Sarah, his college sweetheart, his partner in everything, gone 2 years ago from a sudden, vicious illness. Leaving him with 2 little girls and a hole in his soul he can't seem to fill. He feels like he's failing them, constantly exhausted, snapping at Sophie over spilled milk, too scared to let Lily out of his sight. He's not the world's okayest dad. He's just, hanging on. By a thread. He looks at Sophie, helping Lily climb the slide, her small hand in his. I'm so tired, Sarah, he thinks, the unspoken words a constant ache. I'm so scared I'm not enough. Elena's world, a high-stakes boardroom. Elena presents the Pacific merger with flawless logic, devastating efficiency. She secures the deal. The room erupts in muted applause. She feels nothing. Just the familiar hollowness. Later, in her cavernous, minimalist penthouse apartment, the silence is deafening. She sips expensive wine, staring out at the glittering city lights. She remembers the smooth, charming man she'd been dating, a fellow CEO, all sharp suits and sharper wit. He'd been impressed by her power, her success. But he'd never seen her. Just the icon. Just the asset. He'd called her cold the night she ended it. Maybe I am, she thinks, swirling the wine. Maybe success requires it. She picks up a framed photo, her and her younger brother, Mark, laughing on a beach years ago, before the distance, the arguments, the estrangement that mirrored her own internal fracture. She places it back down, untouched. The city lights blur slightly. She feels utterly, profoundly invisible. The fateful night. Rain slicks the roads. Ben, exhausted after a double shift at the shop and a late-night trip to the emergency room with Lily, just a fever, but the fear, oh, the fear, is driving home. The girls are finally asleep in the back seat. He's barely holding his eyes open, the rhythmic thump of the wipers a lullaby. Elena, returning from a rare, unsuccessful personal errand, a desperate, awkward attempt to reconnect with Mark that ended in silence, is driving her sleek sedan, her mind still on the merger, the relentless pressure. She's distracted. She doesn't see the delivery van hydroplane across 3 lanes. She doesn't see the semi-truck swerving to avoid it. She only sees the blinding headlights rushing towards her passenger side. Time slows. The screech of tires. The impact. The world tilting. The glass shattering. The smoke. The terrifying silence. And then, through the passenger window, blurred by smoke and tears, she sees him. The man in the faded jeans and the "world's okayest dad" t-shirt. He's already out of his own car, which is miraculously undamaged but smoking from the engine. He's at her window, his face pale but determined, shouting something she can't hear over the ringing in her ears. His eyes, they're not heroic. They're terrified. But they're there. Focused. On her. He yanks the door. Reaches in. His hands are steady now, working the seatbelt. He's shouting again, close to her ear, "Can you move your legs? Tell me you can move your legs." She tries. A searing pain shoots up her left side, but she can feel it. She nods frantically. He doesn't hesitate. Ignoring the sparks flying near the ruined door frame, ignoring the growing flames licking the hood, he braces himself, wraps his arms around her upper body, and heaves. It's a move born of pure, desperate instinct, the same instinct that had him catching Lily when she fell from the slide, the same instinct that had him holding Sarah as she took her last breath. He pulls her, stumbling backward, dragging her clear just as the passenger side of the car is engulfed in a fireball. He collapses onto the wet asphalt, pulling her with him, rolling her away from the inferno. He checks her face, her breathing. His own chest heaves. He's bleeding from a gash on his temple. He rips a strip from his t-shirt, the "world's okayest dad" part, and presses it to a wound on her arm. His voice is hoarse, urgent, "Stay with me. Just stay with me. Help's coming. I see lights." He stays with her, his body shielding hers from the rain and the heat, his hand gripping hers, his eyes never leaving her face, until the paramedics finally swarm them. As they carefully lift Elena onto a stretcher, she catches one last glimpse of him. He's on his knees in the rain, swaying slightly, his face etched with exhaustion and relief, looking not at the flashing lights, but back towards the road where his car is parked. Towards his girls. Then, as the ambulance doors close, sealing her in the sterile, beeping world of emergency care, he's gone. Vanished into the rain and the smoke. Elena wakes in the sterile, white glow of the ICU. Pain is a constant companion. But the first thing she registers, cutting through the morphine haze, is the absence. The absence of the man in the t-shirt. She tries to ask the nurses. "The man, who pulled me out, the one in the t-shirt." They exchange confused glances. "Honey, the only person who pulled you out was the off-duty firefighter, Officer Davies. He's been here." But Elena knows. She saw the faded print. She saw the raw exhaustion in his eyes that no firefighter on duty would have. She saw the blood from his temple. She saw the way he looked at her, not as a CEO, but as a person in desperate need. The official report lists unknown Good Samaritan. No name. No description beyond male, late 20s/early 30s, wore a dark jacket over a light t-shirt. It's maddening. Who was he? Why did he vanish? The physical pain fades slowly. The emotional void left by his disappearance feels deeper, more confusing. In the quiet moments, the beeping monitors fade, and she hears his hoarse voice, "Stay with me. Just stay with me." It's not the voice of a hero. It's the voice of someone who understands the precipice. She starts asking questions. Where was the accident? Who else was involved? The police report mentions a single-vehicle accident involving Ben Carter's Honda Civic. Ben Carter, a name. But no address, no phone number. Just a name attached to a car registered to a mechanic shop. She has Chloe track him down. Ben Carter. Auto mechanic. Lives in a modest apartment building. 2 young daughters. Wife, deceased. The details paint a picture of quiet struggle. Chloe reports back, "He's very private, Ms. Rossi. Doesn't talk much. Seems focused on his girls. Shop owner says he's the most reliable, hardest working guy he's ever had. But, he left abruptly after the accident. Didn't come back to work. Disappeared." Elena stares at the file. The man who saved her life is a grieving single father who vanished. The irony is staggering. She, who had everything, was saved by someone who seemed to have so little. She feels a strange, unwelcome pull. Not gratitude alone. A desperate need to know. To understand why he walked away. She hires a private investigator. Not for corporate espionage, but for a ghost. She finds nothing. Ben Carter and his daughters seem to have evaporated. Meanwhile, Ben is in survival mode. The accident, his accident, the one he walked away from physically unscathed but emotionally shattered, has become a terrifying catalyst. Lily woke up screaming for days, convinced the bad car was coming for Daddy. Sophie became fiercely protective, refusing to leave Ben's side at school drop-off. The guilt is crushing. He left them. For a split second, he left them. He saw the fireball engulf Elena's car with him in it in his mind. He'd failed Sarah. He couldn't fail his girls. The sight of the burning car, the smell of smoke permanently etched into his nostrils, the memory of Elena's terrified eyes, it's a fresh wound on top of the old one. He quits the auto shop. He can't bear the thought of leaving the girls again, even for work. He takes odd, cash jobs, fixing appliances, painting houses, anything he can do while keeping the girls close. He moves them into a smaller, cheaper apartment, closer to a park, closer to his sister's place. He's barely making ends meet, constantly exhausted, living on coffee and worry. He tries to explain the accident to Sophie in simple terms. A very bad accident, honey. But the nice lady is okay now. She's in the hospital. Sophie, ever observant, notices his haunted look. Daddy, you look sad. Like when Mommy went to sleep forever. Ben crumbles. He holds her tight, tears finally breaking free. I'm sorry, baby. I'm just so scared I'm not doing a good job. That I'm not strong enough for you and Lily. Sophie, with the profound wisdom of a child who's already faced loss, pats his cheek. You're the strongest, Daddy. You saved the lady. You save us every day. The raw honesty in her words is a lifeline. He starts therapy, not for himself, but for the girls. He learns to ask for help, his sister watches the girls sometimes, a kind neighbor keeps an eye out. He's not okay, but he's learning to be present. He's learning that strength isn't the absence of fear, but acting despite it. He throws away the "world's okayest dad" t-shirt. He doesn't feel okay. But he's trying. He's there. He's drawing pictures with Lily, helping Sophie with her glitter glue unicorn, whispering, "I love you," 100 times a day. He's building a new normal, brick by fragile brick, in the shadow of grief and the lingering mystery of the woman he pulled from the fire. He doesn't know she's looking for him. He doesn't care. His world is Lily's sticky hand in his and Sophie's serious questions about fractions. The CEO is a ghost from a nightmare he's trying to forget. Months pass. Elena, physically recovered but emotionally adrift, throws herself back into work with even more ferocity, a shield against the unsettling void left by Ben's disappearance. The Pacific merger is a triumph, lauded in the press. But the victory tastes like ash. She can't stop thinking about the man who saved her. His quiet strength. His utter lack of interest in her status. The way he looked at her, not as Elena Rossi, CEO, but as a human being moments from oblivion. She feels a profound disconnect from her own life. The penthouse feels like